Hi, I'm Emily Hargrove and welcome back to Prime. We all know about the amazing work that the St. Jude's Children's Hospital does for children across the nation. Grand Lux magazine this month features the St. Jude's Evening Under the Stars, which is an event that takes place here in Dallas to raise money for this incredible hospital. And I'm joined by Chairman Emeritus of the event, Perry Smith, to tell us about what we can expect from the event and everything else in between. So Perry, thank you very much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
And firstly, as I mentioned, Grand Lux magazine is highlighting this event as one of the events to go to. What does that mean to you all at the event to have that?
Oh, it's huge. They've been a partner of ours for several years, and they do drive a lot of ticket sales and so forth and give us a lot of good publicity.
That's yeah. I mean, they're very philanthropic minded.
Yes, they are.
Which is really wonderful. So, how many years have you been involved with this event and raising money for St. Jude's?
I've been involved with the event about 10 years, and have chaired it 3 of those years, and sometimes a co-chair, sometimes not. And of course, this year we have chairing it the two daughters of Joe Hager Jr., which was one of the original supporters and contributors to the hospital. His daughters are Lydia Novikov and Marion Bryan.
Right, and this is their second year for chairing it?
This is their second year for chairing it, yes, and they're doing just a great job.
Wonderful. So the event has changed, in its evolution it's changed over the years. It started off in people's homes, and that is where the name Evening Under the Stars came from, because it was in people's backyards. Is
That's
that right?
Correct. That is correct.
And so, and then how many years did that happen, that it took place in people's homes?
You know, we probably had that was probably 5 years that
Right.
we had the party in that format. And then we moved into a country club ballroom. And then from there, we moved to the new Cowboy Stadium. We've been there for 3 years prior to this year. 2 years on the field, 1 year in the club level, and it was a lot of fun.
I bet that was fun. And I think, and what did you say? You said it was an evening under the star.
Yes, we changed the name to Evening Under the Star to salute the Cowboys. And then this year we've gone back to Evening Under the Stars, and so you know, change it up a little bit.
Yes, and I can imagine that being on the pitch was, especially when it had just opened, it was very exciting.
Oh, it was great. It was great. Now you say pitch. Now is that
Oh, is
British
that,
for field?
Oh, yes, it is. It's,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So
yeah, I just automatically think that everybody understands what I'm saying.
Having it on a pitch was a special thing. You know, we were kicking field goals and throwing footballs, and so it was a very.
So you call them fields here?
Yes.
Oh,
football field.
Football field. Well, I've just learned something new.
Okay, good. I'm glad I could help.
Yes, you did. And so this year, though, you're moving away from the Cowboy Stadium and moving into the new Omni Hotel.
That's right. We've decided to bring the party back to Dallas. We are at the new Omni Hotel, which is beautiful. Many people, we normally choose a venue that many maybe have not seen yet. That's fairly new. And so that's why we chose the Omni. We're in the ballroom. This year, actually, instead of a buffet, we'll have a seated dinner, and so which will be a little nicer. Still, you know, the attire dress is not formal. We call it cowboy chic, and so it's very casual, but a great evening.
It sounds like a really wonderful evening. So, what can people expect from the evening this year?
Well, we always have a silent and a live auction. Okay, this year on the live auction, we have I think 6 very special items. We've got a very unique trip to Ireland,
oh, wow.
which is for 4 couples, and it was put together by our live auction chair, which is Margot Keys, and some people actually from Ireland. And so this trip will have things, or on the itinerary will be things that you cannot do if you just called up your travel agent.
Oh,
so it's
really?
very special, and there's golf involved at some of the old courses, and there's tours of various things. But the main thing is about this trip, though, you can customize it. Whoever buys it can customize it to whatever their interests are. And so that's special. And then we have cocktails, you know, at the beginning of the evening while people are looking at the silent auction items. Then we have dinner, the seated dinner. And then we have a performance by Big and Rich.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
And that's, and now, is John Rich?
John Rich, and then Kenny Alphen. And they're Big and Rich. And they'll be giving us a private performance, And of course, John, as you may know, is very supportive of the hospital.
Right.
He was on the, several years ago, he was on the Celebrity Apprentice. He won that competition and donated the $1 million prize to St. Jude. And if you go to John and Big and Rich's website, you'd almost think it was a St. Jude website. That's how involved he is with the hospital.
Wow, that's fantastic. And so I mean, they don't take their usual fee for coming to perform.
They heavily discount their fee.
Wow.
Heavily discounted, and we're just so pleased to have him.
Yes, I imagine, and the fact that he's so intricately involved with it too in his past to them, that makes a big difference as well.
Yes, he when he gets up and performs at the party, he knows what the hospital's all about, that's important.
Yes, it is. And so, in the evening, do you highlight some of the stories of the children?
We do. Well, first of all, the gentleman that leads St. Jude will be there, Rick Shadiak. He's the CEO of ALSAC, which is the charitable arm.
Right.
They raise the funds, the fundraising arm of St. Jude. He will be there and he will speak. And then we always have a local family speak. It could be a family that has a child that might be 7 years old, or last year we had a young lady that was 18 and she came and spoke and her family spoke. But they're all local families that have benefited from the hospital.
Wow. And is it right that no child or no family pays for the treatment that they receive at St. Jude? Is that correct?
That is correct. And let me explain that a little bit.
Okay.
They not only pay for, if St. Jude treats them, and they treat children all over the world that actually will go to Memphis, and they treat inpatient and outpatient, treated by St. Jude's about $4,000 a year. And so they don't pay for treatment, they don't pay for transportation, they don't pay for lodging for the family. The family pays nothing. So it's, when you say that they do it for nothing, or they don't pay anything, it's not just treatment, it's everything.
Wow.
And if they have to stay there extended time, and they have their siblings with them, the siblings get to go to, they put them up in a private school to do their studies.
Wow.
Or get them tutors.
Wow. And so what is the operating budget for the year? I mean, that must be huge in order to service that many people.
Their operating budget costs $1.7 million every day to open the doors.
Wow.
And so what a lot of people don't understand is that St. Jude is not really a clinical hospital. It is a research facility. They only have 60 beds. Those beds are to treat those inpatient patients or the outpatients who would come in for treatment and then leave.
Right.
So it's truly a research hospital. Now, another thing about St. Jude that's special is the treatment protocols that they develop there. They share freely with hospitals all over the world. So hospitals here in the DFW area benefit greatly from the existence of St. Jude there in Memphis.
Wow, that's really amazing. I mean, I just think 1.7 million a day, and what John Rich won on Celebrity Apprentice for just even, I mean, it's only half a day, isn't it? Or,
that is correct.
Yeah, and that's mind-boggling.
Well, it is, and but you know what? It's been a great investment. Just to give you a few statistics, when Danny Thomas opened the hospital in 1962, the survival rate for acute lymphoblastic leukemia, it's short form, it's called ALL, the survival rate was 4% of kids that were diagnosed with that. Today it is 94%.
That's extraordinary.
So they've almost eradicated, or at least are able to cure kids that have ALL.
Gosh.
And other forms of leukemia, or Hodgkin's, have similar, that's the most drastic one, but there are other forms of leukemia that may be 10% survival rate, today they're 80 or whatever.
Wow. That's very, very encouraging, isn't it?
Yes.
Really?
People know that when they give to St. Jude, their dollars are well spent.
Yeah, they are, absolutely. And so tell me about the Pediatric Cancer Genome Project.
Okay, in January of 2010, St. Jude announced a new project in partnership with Washington University in St. Louis. and it's a $65 million project. And it's called the Pediatric Cancer Genome Project, and it's the first of its kind. And what they're doing there is they are taking, because they have tumor samples going all the way back to 1962 that they've kept. They've taken about 600 of those samples, and what they'll do is they will map the genome. Now, genome basically is the whole structure of the cell, basically. Right. It's made up of genes and other DNA. Mm-hmm. And so by mapping this, or by, I forget some of the other terms because I'm not a doctor.
Right. You do great.
Thank you very much.
You really are.
They're able to identify certain traits that the genome has in cancer cells, so that they can not only improve the cure rate. In many instances, they may be able to even to prevent cancer from happening in the first place. Right. And again, they've already had great success with that project. It'll wrap up at the end of this year. But they've already got their results are already being shared and printed and shared with researchers all over the world.
So and that's a $65 million project, which I'm assuming the fundraising happens for that separately.
That's being handled separately. The gentleman that chairs that fundraising effort is Alan McWhorter, who is the CEO of Airbus America.
Oh.
So he's leading that charge.
Wow.
And doing a very good job with it. And that's outside the budget of the $1.7 million per day.
Yeah, because they have, I mean, one thing that really strikes me about St. Jude's is the public support in terms, you know, the celebrities and businessmen, women. They really, I mean, people come out in full force.
They certainly do. You're right. They've got many great supporters and contributors all over the world. And of course, they've got their supporters in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. They've got their supporters on Wall Street. They're in Memphis, or Nashville, I should say, which is right down the road from Memphis. Country Cares is an organization that Randy Owen, the lead of the famous Alabama Country and Western group, he formed Country Cares many years ago, and so the musical industry there in Nashville has been very supportive.
It is. Well, I mean, and as they all should be, because what a wonderful cause it is, and how it touches all of those lives. But Perry, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about this. And it's on Saturday, October 13th.
That's
is the event. And then are the tickets still available?
Tickets are available. You can go online, and I think it's stjude.org /Dallas events or something like that.
Yep.
You can go online, $250 for the party. We have an after party where you can get an individual ticket for $75. That's a new thing this year, the after party. And so, yeah.
So everybody, you need to go. This is an event not to miss. So Perry, thank you. Enjoy this year's event. And as Perry said, stjudes.org /Dallas events. And thank you again.
Thank you.
We'll be back another time. Bye-bye.